Clearly, the problems of elections in
Africa.
Not only in Uganda, in Africa in general, kwa sababu those are the same problems that we have to deal with here in Kenya. I, however, don't think it's all doom and gloom as as he says. It gets to a point where people now realize, bana, this thing is not working, you know? And it only takes 3% of the population to realize that in order to change. Just 3%. Not even a very huge number. So it is true. Watu hawata kusikiza by the way ka uendi kuwapea do. And it's upon our generation to now find creative ways of dealing with that. Because like he said, utaenda utaongea huko vitu zote utasema ni poa, people will relate to everything you've said, but at the end of the day they want food on their table and you're not giving them that 200 bob to put food on their table for the day. And then it becomes a problem for them to even listen to you. So it's important for us to now start changing the model of politicking. We need to stop giving the handouts, but then it's a process and we have to start that process now, and the conversations that we are having amongst ourselves and around the country are very important. They are one way of starting that process. It might take us 100 years to get there where people will not be looking for handouts from politicians, but at least we are doing something about it right now. I feel like our generation kind of understands better compared to the older generation, and maybe this is systemic because we are better. Okay, not better. A majority of us are educated. Tuko na kisomo kidogo compared to the other generation. So we are kind of woke. We understand the repercussions of getting these handouts. We are in the process of trying to understand how that affects everything else in our life. So it's yeah, that's where we are. Hiyo ndio reality kwa ground, by the way. Hiyo tu ndio reality kwa ground. But there is a chance to change that. And that's why actually I'm very outspoken. You know, I like a challenge. So I'm challenging myself to be able to change the politics of this country. Just not just me, but me and other Kenyans who are like-minded.
You know, the more things change, the more they become the same. Statistics have not shown that younger people vote better than older people. Of course, our crowd, the people we hang out with, will be the people who think like us, and it is easier to hypothesize that is the world. But there is statistics that is showing that the young people have not moved a single inch to how they vote. All this philosophy and all this issue-based are here until the 6 months to election, or 2 months, or 1 month. But I think that does not mean it is doomful. To me, I don't think that that means they are not issue-based. The people who are saying, give me a handout, are saying that is the issue I want. That's what the professor is saying. And if democracy is about the will of the people, that is the will that I want. Thy will be done. My will is that I will vote for whoever gives me money. That is democracy. And he's actually saying how foolish the idea of democracy is. And even the people who articulate democracy have said it has a lot of challenges, but it is the best the human can come with. So it's not perfect. What he's saying is that the democracy, has the big assumption that people who will be voting, one, are not starving. That is not our case. That is not going to be our case soon. Democracy have a big assumption that people voting are aware. That is not our case. Even with this BBI, when we go for referendum or people will be signing, do you think there are people who will have read the BBI? Beto? The people will be coming to sign in those tents as they dance, whether it is reggae tune.
I've never even seen it.
Will they be the people who will have read the documents? But they will have been expressing the Wanjiku or the will of the people.
The people.
So democracy was based on some underpinning that are not quickly identifiable in our society. One, because we are starving. Two, because of illiteracy or in lack of information. And 3, because of our tribal formation. Do you know what this guy is saying? It's what I've said. Civil society, sijui media, fourth estate, sijui this political science department, sijui rule of law, all this boil, these things have not checked this country. Tribalism is what runs this country. And that's the articulation of BBI. He's saying, watch, let us not pretend. The life of Kenya under conference room is different from the life of Kenya in Lokichoge on the ground. Where sijui vugu la nini sijui. No, at the end of the day, people are pragmatic. And people vote for their interest, and that interest means whoever give me money. So as we articulate these ideas and ideals, you know, you can't treat it if you don't know the problem. He's not happy. In fact, he might appear, you know, people hate a herald of bad news. He's not saying this is how it should be. He's saying that is how it is. Real. Move from there, beat it, accept it. Then you can cure it. If you have a magical way of curing it, fine. If you find that donors can give you money to donate and you are a good candidate, come donate that money and be elected. Go to parliament and do the good job. If you have professionals, how many times do we collect money for each other when they want to run? Why? Because we know the reality. Collect that money from your fellow professionals. Collect that money from diaspora. Bring that money to the ground. Play that game. Get to parliament and do the right thing. The change
have they been doing the right
come.
Question for Anand.
The right thing depends with whom you ask. Of course, the field is so much mad. There is tribalism, there is party, there is whatever. And at the end of the day, we either choose the world we want to lie to ourselves about, or the reality we are living. That is a reality check. And to me, I would rather take that shock therapy every time, as painful as it is. I would rather take that chill pill and know that this is the reality.
So, Daktari, you say our politics are based on tribal, yeah? Tribalism, yeah? Yeah, right, correct, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've also agreed on this show that we have a whole new generation, Generation Z, that does not subscribe to tribalism.
Where's your data on that? Apart from just that it's a good thing and it sounds good. Because I'm telling you, the data shows.
We have agreed on this show.
But we don't make facts. We can agree, but facts.
Yeah, in our opinion, we have agreed in this show that
you and
Generation Z. No, you included. I'm looking at you, Doctor.
I wasn't in that meeting.
Generation Z is not really tribalistic. So it shocks me when one day you have faith in the new generation, then the next day you don't, and you're crowding them with the rest of the stupid Kenyans who've gotten us here. It kind of shocks me.
Stupid Kenya. Yeah, of course I know you are saying the old thinking, isn't it? But I'm telling you, Ayala, that statistic after statistic shows that even in the previous election, young people, this generation, which one is it?
Why?
Generation Y. We are running out of alphabet, as I can see with these generations. This so-called Generation Y did not vote according to issues in the last election.
They actually did not vote. I included. I did not vote.
They were not
this
eligible?
Is my no, we were. We just don't care. But let me ask you a question, Daktari, because this brings me back to my point. When you're looking at me and you want to explain to me the effects of tribalism and corruption and how handouts are denying me public services, and you want to explain the same thing to my mother or your mother, who is going to easily understand and comprehend that which you're saying?
My mother.
Your mother, yeah?
And you know why?
So why is it hard then for your mother to translate her comprehension of what you're saying into better voting?
This is the generation that fought for multi-party.
Exactly.
That's my mother's generation. This is the generation that united to say Moi must go.
Yes.
This generation of my mother, you know, I'm not equating education to ability to understand vitu.
Okay.
It is not usually, it can be, but it's not usually transferable. If you went to the village, and Ayala, I'm challenging you. If you went to the village and sat on that stone, or went to Kibera and find those people in the mtaa and hear the articulation of issues, the understanding of the issues, then now take a conversation to Java, where there is the so-called middle class, or a little bit people who are educated. Hear their dumbness. You will know that education has no direct correlation to understanding of the political issues.
Why are you assuming the people in Kibra and the people in the village do not have an education?
No, generally,
I sit with young people from Mathare, the slum. Mathare 4A, Mathare 10. I sit with young people from Kawangware. I sit with young people from Kibra. And trust me, the way these young people in these areas articulate themselves is better than a young person in Karen Wood.
Then we are agreeing. But I'm saying
exactly.
In the rural, people have urban-rural migration. Most people who have educated go work out of the village. So if I find people who live in the village generally, unless you have come for vacation, and that is the challenge we have in this country, then generally there are population. Of course, there will be outliers, but there are population who, most of them are not either looking for something in the city because they didn't go to school. Generally, we are generalizing. So that population, and even the older population, all of a sudden you are saying this generation Z or Y did not even vote, so they didn't even know why voting is important. You know, these people are not young. We started voting at 19. So why do you think somebody who don't even know why voting is important is better off and better civilized than somebody who go to vote for tribe?
Prof, it's not about not knowing that voting is important. It's about knowing that even if you vote, it will not reflect your will.
And their will is...
That is why my generation and the generation after did not vote. That is why my generation and the generation after are not interested in politics. That is the difference between my generation and the older generation. Because the older generation still believes that they can tweak here and tweak there and fix a problem. My generation believes that we need to uproot the whole system. And when we start sending them messages to that effect, then they can relate to what we are saying. And trust you me, they're going to vote better. Because my generation is educated, and that education is transferable to choices.